Okay, so let's see what Psaki says about this whole thing that Biden has said that Russia literally is going to invade Ukraine in February. Today is February, by the way. So a great reporter asked her this question, just to follow up. Let's see what she says about this.
Last week, I believe in here you said that the assessment still was that a Russian invasion is imminent. That's the word that you'd used before, that other officials have used, and you used it last week. But yesterday, the ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, said she would not use the word imminent. She said she does not think a Russian invasion of Ukraine is imminent. So I guess we just need some clarification on where that assessment stands right now.
I used that once. I think others have used that once, and then we stopped using it because I think it sent in a message that we weren't intending to send, which was that we knew that President Putin had made a decision. I would say the vast majority of times I've talked about it, we said he could invade at any time. That's true. We still don't know that he's made a decision.
Okay, so you're not using that word.
I think I used it once last week.
But the decision now is that you're not describing it as imminent anymore.
I haven't in over a week.
I'm gonna show the rest of this video, but before I do, I want y'all to see how she literally just said that they said this. She said this one time last week. She said this one time last week. She may have said this one time last week. That's cool. But in the UN, they were literally pushing this as their fucking line. Before China and before Russia even spoke, they were putting this as their line, saying that the United States believed that Russia is going to invade Ukraine. This was their line, and they justified this. Biden also sent troops. He sent troops. What more do you need? If you fully believe in this lie that Ukraine is going to be invaded by Russia, why would you send troops? What are you sending troops for? What is the whole point to send troops? This is the same lie that was given last term with Trump, when Trump was saying that Iran has nuclear weapons when they do not. This same lie that Bush was saying that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, but that was a lie. Biden's doing the same thing. He's saying Russia is going to invade Ukraine when Putin said that they're not. Zelensky is literally telling him, why are you saying this? You are making chaos. For God's sake. Why did we send 2,000 troops to Europe if Ukraine is not going to be invaded by Russia? But my President Biden said that Ukraine is going to be invaded by Russia. Okay, is that true? I don't know. This is not true. Not true. Look at this quote right here. This is off an article from the Business Insider. This is talking about the conversation that President Zelensky had with Biden. Horn, the NSC spokesperson, tweeted, "This is not true. President Biden said that there is a distant possibility that the Russians could invade Ukraine in February. He has previously said this publicly, and we have been warning about this for months. Reports of anything more or different than that are completely false." Okay, look, they have a phone conversation, Zelensky and Biden. Zelensky tells Biden to calm down the messaging. Why? He's getting people riled up. He's making people fearful that a whole conflict's about to go out. Biden tells Zelensky, don't worry. It's in bold right here. Sleep well. Because apparently they was having a conversation about moving his children, Zelensky children, his family out of the country if imminent war went down. Okay. So we all been told in America, but this is all before the UN conversation. We all been told in America that Russia is going to invade Ukraine. On what grounds? On what grounds? And they also are saying that they defend sovereign nations. And if you know U.S. foreign policy, we only defend sovereign nations that are in our interest, that are laying down and doing what we want. That sovereign excuse does not work for Venezuela, That sovereign excuse does not work for Cuba. That sovereign excuse does not work for Bolivia because they're not in our government's interests and they want to take them out. So they can take all the resources and give them democracy. Germany, these are NATO allies. Germany, France do not want to get involved. Why? Because I don't know. You're talking about starting a whole new war in Europe on their soil, neighboring countries. This is going to destroy Europe. This whole type of conflict. Now, listen to me. These are NATO allies. So, does that mean that Biden is literally about to make NATO allies break apart? Is NATO going to disband because of this? Because the only people we have on his side is, of course, the UK. Denmark's not involved. Denmark has no problem with saying no. So the UK always wants to be our friend. So they're like, oh, sure, we'll do whatever you want.
Statement today saying that the president should sort of take NATO membership off the table.
You are just digesting Russian misinformation, talking points. You are not aligned with long-standing bipartisan American values, which is to stand up for the sovereignty of countries like Ukraine, but others, their right to choose their own alliances, and also to stand against very clearly the efforts or attempts or potential attempts by any country to invade and take territory of another country. That applies to Senator Hawley, but it also applies to others who may be parroting the talking points of Russian propagandist leaders.
Russian propagandist leaders. They are still pushing that narrative of this whole big mastermind plan that Russia has. That narrative has been proven false. That is some Hillary Clinton bullshit that Biden and all his friends are trying to just keep beating the dead horse, ignoring the fact that the feds themselves are even investigating this because they feel embarrassed that they believe you lying ass motherfuckers. So here is the problem that we're dealing with. This is embarrassing. As an American, you should be embarrassed that your government acts this way. You should be embarrassed that your government is literally continuing to make false pretenses just so they can create war. When at the end of the day, now this is another thing that tickles me so bad because yes, I'm using the RT video and they still have that up. Russia funded and all this shit. They need to do that for American news as well too. Tell people about all the corrupt corporate owners, how 5 freaking entities control corporate media in America right now. And they need to show that too. Show them all these fucking assholes that control CNN, that control Fox News. Show them that, just like how you always want to show people if a country controls this. Their only driven interest is to exploit and world domination. And now when I say world domination, I'm meaning like they straight up want every country in the world to be driven by their interests. And if you say no, if you say I am not going to give you what you want from me, I'm going to dictate economic growth and independence for my country and give my country, the working class people, an idea of what they want for the future for their country, then that's when the United States of America needs to come and give you freedom. And that is exactly what this is all about, because we are literally propping up a government that is literally, Ukraine is literally ran by Nazis at this point. Neo-Nazis are in Ukraine. They have influence. They have militias. They have government power. Zelensky, I don't know if he's a Nazi himself, but he's definitely working with them. And there is violence. There is so much violence that's going on in that country that no one wants to talk about. Everyone wants to ignore it. Everybody wants to ignore that. But they want to make Russia look like the bad guy while they're defending a Nazi-controlled state. What I just had to talk about this because it outrages me. It really outrages me. And I hope you guys listen to this because this is insane. Have a good day.